Transgender Vermonters going through sexual reassignment surgery pay a hefty price, thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars for a sex change operation.
And in the U.S., those surgeries are not covered by health insurance, but there is also another cost to transition. It's a personal cost. Trans people face violence and discrimination, but Vermont is one of the few states that's trying to stop the hate as people transition, becoming the gender within. Darren Perrin has our special report.
A situation that is going to be dangerous or draw attention to myself.
Michelle Todd wants to blend in with the crowd, go unnoticed to avoid violence. She's transgender and always on alert.
I'm not an evil person, but a lot of people would look at it that way.
So many trans people live in the shadows, hiding from a world that sees them as freaks.
I have not met one trans person in the work that I've done that hadn't had a little bit of that fear in the back of their minds at all times.
Last year, 11 trans people in Vermont reported cases of hate or violence to Safe Space in Burlington.
RU12, this is Greg.
An organization providing services to victims. Officials say that number is highly underreported due to fear of retaliation and coming out.
The resistance from the community is so great. It's not a minor thing because that can be a safety issue. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of transphobia in the culture.
It can also be a lonely life. Many trans people are rejected by their families, grow up hating their bodies, suffer from depression, drug abuse, and suicide.
Every day, a little bit of me was dying.
And some, like Tony Barreto Neto, deal with discrimination.
My experience at Hardwick was eye-opening, to say the least.
Tony was born a baby girl, Michelle Barreto Neto, on October 3rd, 1946. But like other trans people, he felt trapped in the wrong body until he fully transitioned from female to male in the mid-90s, undergoing sexual reassignment surgery.
I felt liberated then. I thought, oh my God, I can get out of this. I don't have to live. This part of my life is a lie.
Tony went on to do great things in law enforcement, earning numerous awards over his career. He is a highly decorated cop.
I know that I just been given a life-saving award here.
Tony, his wife and adopted daughter moved to the Northeast Kingdom in 2003. He joined the Hardwick Police Department.
They started out loving me. They thought I was the greatest thing since, Grandma's apple pie.
But Tony says things changed once town officials learned he was transgender.
It was just like day and night. I went to work one day, and it was like nobody talked to me.
Tony says he was ostracized, harassed, and officers didn't respond to calls for backup. On some occasions, he felt his life was put in danger. He was being forced out.
I was a victim. I thought, I'm a bad cop. I know I will never forget it. I know that I would do everything in my power to keep anybody else from going through it.
He sued, and the Attorney General's office found the complaints credible. The town settled, paying Tony $90,000 in damages.
It's a horrible thing to go through.
We needed the protection in our law to make sure that that didn't happen.
Advocates for Vermont's transgender community lobbied the legislature to pass an anti-discrimination law. And in July of last year, Vermont joined 10 other states, making it illegal to discriminate against a trans person. They cannot be denied housing, a job, or public accommodations because they are transgender.
A lot of discrimination and hate is based on people's assumptions of what they're seeing or what they think they're seeing or the judgments they might have. With passing this law, we have continued Vermont's tradition of being a leader for equal rights.
Since the law was enacted, the Attorney General's office has received a handful of workplace discrimination inquiries. The state has started a preliminary investigation into one of those allegations.
There was a clarification needed in the law. People could say, okay, I know I can get help.
Tony says he relied on his wife and God to get him through that time in his life. He's a Eucharistic minister in the Catholic Church. Tony is grateful for the new law, but says fear may still keep many trans people from coming forward with discrimination complaints.
I know people who live up here who are absolutely scared to death. Anybody might know anything.
We should point out that being transgender has nothing to do with a person's sexual orientation. Some trans people are gay, some are not. The two are completely unrelated, according to experts. Later this month, on November 22nd, the Transgender Day of Remembrance will be held in cities all over the world, including Burlington. It's a day set aside to mourn people who have been killed through transphobic violence. Kristen.
Thank you, Darren.